Hello and welcome to today's session. Today we will be talking about a very interesting topic, that is marketing environment. A company's marketing environment consists of all those factors that affect how firms manage their customer relationships. Let us understand what is the nature of marketing environment. Business environment constantly keeps changing, and hence a company has to monitor these changes and take due steps. A company's business environment is basically divided into two parts, the micro environment and the macro environment. The micro environment consists of factors close to the company that directly influence how a firm serves its customers. It includes the company, suppliers, customers, market intermediaries, competitors and the general public. These factors can be controlled by the company's own actions, while the macro environmental factors include larger forces that are beyond the control of the company, at least in the short run, and hence are called uncontrollable factors. They include macro level forces like the political, economic, sociocultural, technological, demographic and natural forces. The first four are often grouped together and are called PEST, PEST factors. The environmental analysis and its scanning is very important. The environmental analysis is a strategic process of monitoring various micro as well as macro forces that directly or indirectly affect the company and its working. Now let us understand why environmental scanning and analysis is important. Business environment keeps constantly changing, and because of the changes in its micro and macro factors, a company has to monitor these forces and analyze their impact on the performance of the company from time to time. This action also helps a company to review how the external forces are shaping up and get an idea of the forthcoming opportunities or threats to the business. These inputs help in making important business decisions. It also helps to know what moves are taken by the competitors and other firms in the industry. Businesses excelling in the scanning process can take proactive steps in the long-term benefits of their companies. Environmental scanning is the foundation of any long-term strategic planning and execution. Now talking about the macro environmental scanning. While there are many different strategic tools for environmental scanning, one of the best tools popularly used is the macro environmental scanning using PEST or PESTLE analysis. Now PESTLE or PESTLE is basically an acronym of 6 different environments that directly as well as indirectly affect a company's marketing environment, which are political factors, economic factors, socio-cultural factors, technological factors, environmental factors and legal factors. Talking about each of them individually, we look at the political factors. A company's business environment is directly affected by the political framework in which it is operating. Now, the role and the policies implemented by the ruling party have an important bearing on the businesses. Some factors affecting business performances are political stability, government policies related to business growth, investment and taxation, world politics affecting trade, etc. Different governing parties in India have shown different levels of inclination towards building the business environment in India. Make in India, the current campaign promoted by the ruling party, is a strong factor affecting the development of industries in India. Talking about the economic factors now. India, being a mixed economy, has different business environment compared to other capitalist or socialist economies. Economic environmental factors affecting the business are mainly economic policies, fiscal and monetary, controls and regulations, economic problems related to inflation, recession and unemployment, national income and expenditure, competitive forces, performances of the primary, secondary, tertiary sectors of the economy, availability of the factors of production, exchange rate, globalization, etc. India has witnessed a 360-degree change in its economic environment since 1991's liberalization, privatization and globalization policy. Now coming to the socio-cultural factors. While demographic environment is given a separate inclusion in many marketing books, it can be included in the socio-cultural environment. Social environment mainly includes the demographic environment, which includes how the population is distributed across various age groups, gender categories, caste, educational backgrounds, income groups and social class, nationality, religions, rural and urban population density, etc. India has a promising business future with a large mass of young population knowing various different languages. This also makes it a suitable destination for outsourcing jobs globally. Other social issues like the employment opportunities, health and fitness, women empowerment, etc. are also shaping business dynamics. We now talk about the cultural factors. Cultural environment includes core values, attitudes, behavior, lifestyle, etc. India has various cultural groups which further have a variety of subcultures based on caste and creed. Recent changes in the cultural values and lifestyles of Indians have given place to a lot of new international music albums, imported cars, watches, foreign holidays and ready-to-eat products in their lives. A lot of MNCs have to consider these cultural differences before operating in India. A brilliant example of this is McDonald's. The US fast food giant does not offer beef or pork in the Indian menu. Moving on now to the technological factors. One of the major factors that has changed the face of business is technology. It includes the degree of internet usage, digitalization, computerization of operations, automation, the use of different media for advertising and promotion purpose. The modern day online formats of retailing have replaced many physical retail stores in India as well as abroad. The social media is the latest mantra for success in modern marketing, and technology is used effectively for various functions of businesses, right from new product development to distribution to advertising to eliciting real-time customer feedback. Talking about the environmental factors. Environmental factors and societal issues are recently being given a lot of importance, like pollution, ecological balance, global warming, greener technologies, general health and fitness, waste disposal mechanism, etc. Increased use of CNG auto rickshaws, carbon emission issues, pollution tracking devices are example of this in India. Talking about the last of the pestle factors, L for legal factors. Legal factors include the legislative framework and laws affecting working of various entities. It affects all business operations, right from its foundation to its growth. In India, there are many laws like Competition Act 2002, Factories Act 1948, Minimum Wages Act 1948, Consumer Protection Act 1986, etc. We will now talk about the competition in the industry. An industry is a group of firms in the same business. According to Michael Porter, the level of industry competition is affected by various factors related to competitors, substitutes, new entrants, entry barriers and bargaining power of suppliers and buyers. The 5 forces model of competition helps to understand the relative competitive pressure in the industry and the firm's market position based on it. Michael Porter's model of factors determining competitive forces includes 5 of these integral factors: threat of the new entrants, rivalry among existing firms, threat of substitute products, bargaining power of buyers, bargaining power of suppliers, and we will now discuss each of them individually. Looking at the first one, the threat of new entrants. Competition directly depends on the number of new firms entering in the industry. Entry of the firms may depend on the existing entry barriers like regulation, investment and technical know-how required. Low entry barriers bring in many new companies who may compete directly or indirectly. New competitors may sell similar products or with modifications. Talking about the next factor, which is rivalry among existing firms. Rivalry in the industry depends on the number of firms and their size. Rivalry also depends upon the prices, exit barriers, switching costs of buyers, rate of industry growth, fixed cost, etc. Threat of substitute product is the next factor. Substitutes are those products which satisfy the same need. For example, tea and coffee are substitutes for refreshment. If the switching cost of a substitute for the buyer is low, then there will be intense competition in the market. Other factors affecting competition are prices and quality of substitutes. Of course, the relative perception about the performance of the substitutes in the minds of the buyers plays an important role in this situation. Talking about the next factor, which is the bargaining power of the buyers. The bargaining power of the buyers shows how the customers can influence a company or a manufacturer. Buyers normally would have more influential power if they are few in number, whereas the suppliers are many. If the buyers buy a significant portion of the seller's produce or can themselves start producing the raw material through backward integration, their bargaining power is more. Now talking about the last factor, it is the bargaining power of suppliers. The suppliers play an important part in deciding the quality and the prices of the final product produced in the firm. Suppliers may tend to have a strong bargaining power when substitutes are not readily available in the market or when they give differentiated products required by the firms. Generally, high switching costs to other substitutes further make their position stronger in the deal. Another threat from the suppliers emerges when it is possible for them to get into forward integration, thereby producing what the buying firm produces. We will now talk about the Indian marketing environment. There has been a sea change in the Indian marketing environment post-liberalization. India followed socialistic economic policies post-independence. The Indian environment has undergone sea changes ever since the implementation of the revolutionary LPG model in 1991. LPG stands for liberalization, privatization and globalization. Liberalization refers to the relaxation of earlier government restrictions, usually in the area of social and economic policies. With the advent of liberalization, the tariffs, subsidies and other restrictions on the flow of goods and services between countries were removed. Economic reforms were based on the assumption that market forces would guide the economy in a more effective manner than government control. Privatization refers to the participation of private entities in businesses and services and transfer of ownership from public sector or government to the private sector. Telecommunications, transport, insurance and banking led to a massive level of competition with many service providers in the market. This led to the evolution of customers as the king in the market. Globalization has opened the doors of the Indian economy for various foreign countries to conduct their business operations in India. Globalization has furthered the level of competition in India with many multinational companies like Nestle, Unilever, PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, Ford, Honda, Nissan, Dell, Microsoft, Amway, Lenovo and many other providing high quality products and services. Today, global products produced in different countries are available in Indian retail outlets. Globalization has made different countries of the world into one integrated market. In short, the modern Indian marketing environment is triggered by multiple local and global firms with multiple offerings, newer and innovative media emerging from reaching the customers, technology-driven marketplaces, and an entire concept of using integrated, holistic marketing plans for long-term brand building. It is now time to discuss what we have already discussed. Let us summarize all the points. The marketing environment is dynamic and has influences of different macro environment factors like the political, economic, socio-cultural, technological, environment and legal, which need to be constantly scanned while designing marketing strategies. Also, like in India, there have been sea changes in the marketing environment ever since the introduction of the LPG revolutionary model. Liberalization, privatization and globalization. With this, we end today's session. I hope you enjoyed learning. Thank you so much.